Because reasons.
Yes, because of reasons, we welcome you to the BJCKDs podcast number 7. Another 3-man podcast with B for Blake.
Yo!
K for Kai. And again, C for Chris.
And now I'm the one sorting the waste cards.
Yeah, well, we're always like that. It seemed like, as you might have noticed almost instantaneously, I can't trust these guys with a lighter, a match, and some oil for the life of me.
It looks so fun.
I can't pay to have my apartment replaced again. We have to do this stuff in here.
Hey, I was just trying to cook a meringue pie.
Yeah, and we saw what happened last time.
Done!
Let's just put it this way. I'll unfreeze the slaves in the basement, we rebuild your house, and then we put them back into cryosleep. And then no one notices all the clones that mysteriously went missing.
Wait.
How do we know you're not
What
a
clones?
No clones. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you changing the topic because you don't want them to know about the clones, or that you're a clone yourself?
I have no idea what you're talking about. This is such a conveniently located distraction. Hello, distraction.
Yeah, well, look. Yeah, so we didn't do a book club last week because we were collaborating with the Panda podcast. We will link to those guys down below, the video as well. They're great guys, to be honest. Like Blake and I went on their podcast and it was a really good discussion.
I haven't actually seen them. Are they guys?
They're good guys. They're really nice guys.
Oh.
Yeah, like, the thing is...
Like you would never know what a good guy is like.
You know, because you hang around with us and we're assholes.
Yes!
But, like, when you think about it, like, realistically, we haven't shut up about Civil War. Like, we talked about it on their podcast as well. We haven't shut up about Civil War for 3 weeks straight.
Despite only one of us watching it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm just going to sit here and be the only person who didn't speak about Civil War and be happy in my,
Which is why I'm not...
purity. I'll just call it purity. We'll go with that.
Oh, God, but, like,
There's not much we can talk about Civil War considering only one of us has seen the film.
Well, I read the comic.
I mean, you've read the comic,
As
I've watched
well.
a video on all the comics.
So no more Civil War jokes or comments. That said, there's been a lot of media hype in terms of reactions to trailers and movies recently. And it almost kind of shows the internet's getting a bit more angry. We talked about the Ghostbusters trailer the first week, but there's been a lot of trailers that have come out recently in the past week alone that have just kind of blown up. Call of Duty, for example.
Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare.
That was less... There was more specific reasons to that one, actually. That's something I actually know stuff about. But the biggest explanation of that is... I forgot what it's called. When something is the same constantly.
So, formulaic.
Something breeds contempt. Basically, there it is.
Familiarity.
Thank you. Familiarity I can't say it. Breeds contempt.
Yes.
Which is basically the idea that they've stuck to the same formula for a while.
But,
and then they switched into Modern Warfare, and the fans weren't too happy about that, but Modern Warfare was a game that a lot of people enjoyed. However, they've started going more into the future, but all the fans are wanting them to go back into the past, not the other way around.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, but it seems but that's not exactly a trend that hasn't been existing for... That's existed for years at this point, and it feels like Infinite Warfare was was either the straw that broke the camel's back, or was finally the thing that broke the rules.
Not quite.
How so?
Well, you should probably look at the statistics for the last Call of Duty advertisement.
But people still buy it!
Because that was also the most hated Call of Duty advertisement ever. And it also made the most money out of all of the Call of Duty events. So the more the more dislikes there are, the more money there comes in.
So in other words, this is not a train wheel that's going to stop.
No, to quote one of the developers from Activision, stuff like this has happened before. Activision will turn out fine anyway.
Yeah.
No, I don't argue that, but it's a matter of I personally haven't played Call of Duty. I don't own a console, and as doesn't PC Master Race. Well,
we are gods, bow down.
Call of Duty is on PC.
Yeah, but even so, but my point more being, at this point, people call space the final frontier for a reason. What can you do from here?
Future. Eventually we'll be fighting against space
Because at
stations.
what point do you go from being Call of Duty to being in Call of Duty in space to just being fuck it, we're Halo now?
Because
yes.
you can just go from Call of Duty in space to Call of Duty in 1940.
Oh my god, Call of Duty Halo crossover.
That
actually sounds pretty decent.
Do you think we're in the year as a whole of internet rage? The past 6 months, we're in May at this point, and the past year, 5 months have kind of held more internet rage, or at least reporting on internet rage, than we've seen in a long time. Because, like, think about it this way. Call of Duty, the Ghostbusters...
Sure?
Well, the Call of Duty trailer had a like-to-dislike ratio of about 20... Likes of about 21,000, dislikes of about 582,000. So that was...
It was like an 18% like...
But then there was stuff like Ghostbusters, which was a huge issue. Then people were trying to see the Fine Brothers burn before that. We've got, I think, a lot more people have been reported for SWAT. Like, a lot more swatting's happened recently to the point where, like,
Don't know what swatting is.
swatting is where do you know what a SWAT team is? Like, in the police.
You're literally calling up the SWAT on someone.
During a live Twitch stream.
Why?
Because you're an
Because
asshole.
people are jerks.
No, but it's gotten so bad that, like, then people are starting to make laws against this type of stuff, where it's not just you abuse the system, it's you literally did this on purpose, you're going to jail for this.
They do go to jail.
Yeah, they do realize that they call them anonymously, but they can trace the call where you came from, right?
But there's a lot more, there's specific stuff towards internet trolling and internet swatting.
Yeah.
And, like, that's, like, we can talk about that, but you can also talk about swatting, you can talk about Rust, you can talk about...
Rust has always been, like, a hellhole.
No, but Rust has been bad, but it's still, like, recently, especially when they tried to switch out genders, people were getting furious. And
I think it's the same amount of internet rage that it's always been. I think it's more so just... people have been focusing on it more. I mean, the internet has always been just, like, the cesspit of humanity, but also the best parts of humanity combined.
It also helps
that's
that
true.
like YouTube drama is becoming a real thing, and that's getting advertised. Well, not advertised, but like reported on.
You mean like
and it's eventually it's going to turn into TMZ for YouTube.
That's what I was about to say. Are we getting to the point where YouTube's like TMZ? Because
I've seen that joke enough.
But YouTube's kind of standing like just from like I'm not like the BJCKDs is only very young in terms of a YouTube channel, but all of us have been ignored, but all of us have kind of been on YouTube focusing like watching content providers and all that for a long time, and it's the double-edged. It's a kind of the paradox of YouTubers want to be treated as a more serious medium. You see musicians who are on YouTube, that great actors who are on YouTube that don't get taken seriously because they're online more specifically, and anyone can be online.
Bieber was taken seriously. You know how that turned out.
But you also have to think of people like Lindsay Sterling. You have to people who have got a lot of mainstream success. There's you can watch on the wall. Rooster Teeth had a full length movie. They've got TV shows going on. They've got a lot of huge respect, but they aren't taken completely seriously because they're internet fame. But the issue is those are the more positive sides of YouTube that aren't being taken seriously, and the sides of the internet that are being taken seriously are the nasty ones.
But the difference is because they're internet famous, they also have more flexibility in what they can and can't do.
Also, so you know, like when it comes to celebrities, only the bad stuff gets seriously.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about like when you think about
barring the award shows.
Well, barring the award shows, but also like when you think about people that get fame, like when you talk about stuff on the internet, it's a lot of hide yourself, protect your kids, and from all this nasty stuff. But it's also simultaneously, that's the stuff that's getting reported on when there's also stuff like a friendly podcast, videos of a dog being cute, like great people that are making you laugh, making you care, people with serious discussions that are on serious topics that because they're on the internet are being furiously hurt.
There's a lot of educational shows on YouTube, like say Vsauce or Science Show.
Crash Course.
It's Crash Course. Or extra credits, stuff like that. Like I did a games design course last year, and I got redirected to extra credits for that was our homework. We had to watch extra credits.
That show was amazing, by the way. I've watched every single episode. I just found it randomly. It was on the Penny Arcade website originally.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they made their own YouTube channel because Penny Arcade was dumping a whole bunch of YouTube channels that they hosted.
Yeah.
And now they're like Patreon funded.
Patreon funded and also ad funded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good show that goes up a whole bunch of things in games, whether it's in the industry, whether it's like topical, or whether a game should an aspect of a game that should be explored.
Specifically for our class, we were told to look at the game design series, and a lot of the stuff in there is very relevant to games design. But they also do a history one where they go over historical events in detail with a little bit of frame by frame animation occasionally here and there.
Okay.
And
the entire thing is picture frame, still frame animation.
And I would think I'm not arguing that's why my point is the internet is currently, especially when people make a career out of it, they're being taken as a medium that, though as a good medium, they are not noticed versus people who are being completely fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's more and more of an issue as we talk about the social media age where everyone's connected and everyone's talking. It's becoming more and more noticeable, the bad stuff specifically, as it's becoming brought to the forefront. And that concerns me because though, like, you know, you have the dark web, which is like 95% of the internet, and God knows what's happening there. What a lot of people are more in touch with, there's a lot more good than bad in there, yet we don't talk about the good at all.
I think the simple reason for that is...
Nobody likes talking about the good because it's not interesting.
Well, there's an even more simple reason for that. Like, the news in general, you never hear good news. It's because good news isn't interesting for people to listen to. And as YouTube becomes a more prominent medium and more people look to it, like, I've watched YouTube grow for the past 5 to 6 years, and it's turned from a site where people just post random videos of people falling over skateboards to a place where people actually make full careers out of and live off. And as it does that, it becomes more and more medium. It catches more of the media's eye and comes into the light of the media more, and they start to report on it as well as other things. And because that happens, they obviously focus on the negative, like all media outlets do.
Yeah. So in other words, the world sucks. That's pretty much the summation of this.
Okay, people
pretty
are
much.
jerks and people like listening to jerks.
Yeah, so that's why people listen to us, because we're jerks.
Apparently.
Apparently.
Hi, world.
Yeah, especially, you know, like we're a person that talks about internet stuff. We're a person that talks about that, you know, very serious. And we're someone who's working with their cards and not even whose face you can't even see on camera.
You can see his camera on occasion.
Yeah, actually.
And did I just say you can see his camera? Where are you hiding that camera?
No.
His face.
Yeah, under the hat.
No.
Well, actually, so like speaking of stuff that's been going out recently and just growing, Pokemon, like the new Pokemon.
I will put away my cards for this.
I'm sorry, you were exiled from this conversation because you were playing.
Oh god.
You're grounded for this conversation.
Okay, so
Come on, I'm the biggest Poke nerd here.
Yes, you are. Yes, you definitely are.
Visit Giraton 1 for Pokemon theories.
Yeah, and go anywhere else for literally anything else. Like I once joked when I was in actually Civil War, I was joking with someone else that the ads for Batman vs Superman prior to the movie were literally just alternatives you could have for watching Batman vs Superman. You know, go to a nice restaurant and have some Indian food. Go check out this other movie. Go look for shopping. There was literally an ad for dying of carbon monoxide.
No matter how many times you tell me that story, it's still funny.
I do what I can.
So,
okay,
yes,
so we've got...
Pokemon Sun and Moon is out, and there's 3 new starters out, and the entire internet is hyped over it. Of course. Just to get that out of the way.
Though I appreciate the fact that it's a new Pokemon, it's a new game, I'm not excited for it. And the reason why is pretty basic. It's not that it's a new game, it's new, it's terrible. It's what's the thing that's going to appeal? Because what's new? Exactly.
What's new? Multiple islands.
Pokemon.
Well, that was
No. Multiple islands. Not kidding here.
Yeah. No, but that
region
doesn't
technically had multiple islands.
Hoenn had multiple islands.
Yeah, but this is like we see what most people think is the entire region.
It's Hawaii. No.
Yeah,
crap.
it's Hawaii. We're gonna have multiple islands.
No, but is that enough? Is that enough of a reason to get hyped though? Because
oh god, if this is like plot twist, it's the Orange Islands.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. Is that enough of a reason to get hyped? Because for me, it's a case of okay, new region, new starters. You've got a new generation.
Yeah.
What else are you going to bring to the table? Because I've played Pokemon, like, I didn't start play Pokemon as a kid. I started play Pokemon around Gen 5 my first game was White. However, when I've done enough stuff on going back further generations and going forward to know that there was always something new they brought to the table. I haven't seen that yet. X and Y had...
Just so you know, they normally don't release these features until midway through their advertising campaign.
Yeah. But that's true. But that's what I mean is, until I see it, I'm not excited. I'm not excited for it because, think about it this way: X and Y had 3D graphics and Mega Evolutions. The Mega Evolutions had been on the table, even prior to them announcing a new game. We were wondering what was those silhouetted images about. Then Black and White, Black and White and Black and White 2. what was really new there? I think it was more that the region itself, it was going back to its old roots, and it was a region specifically for the new generation of Pokemon.
The gimmick between Black and White 2 is that it was an extension of the original game. The gimmick for Black and White is that the only Pokemon you could catch before beating the Elite Four were the new ones.
But there was also like a seasonal cycle, which I remember was promoted.
The seasonal cycle, yeah, I wish they brought that back because that was like the one good feature that came out of that.
But like, okay, but then let's go further back. Then let's go back to Gen 4. We had like, you know, the remakes there were the remakes of Heart Gold and Soul, like of Gold and Silver, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which were great. Then there was Platinum, and then there was Pearl Ruby. There was Pearl Sapphire. Pearl Diamond, and Platinum.
Which the entire thing of that was wireless communication.
And then but the further back you went, there was always something to promote. What is like there's nothing there for me to go, okay, this is a new fresh take, because I don't want, because for me it looks like Pokemon is starting to take the Call of Duty route of, we will reskin it, we will give you some new stuff, we'll give you stuff that looks new, but it's still same old, and I don't want Pokemon to go the formulaic route.
There's something I really want to see them do. I think they would do really well with is, since with Pokemon Sun and Moon they've upgraded from chibi versions to full size people running around in a full 3D scale world. Now, if they,
except for maybe the buildings.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. If they got that, then they sized up the buildings, sized up everything properly, and turned it into a fully explorable region of the entire Pokemon world, and turned it into an RPG that you could join online, catch Pokemon, and fight other people.
That's Pokemon Go, essentially, isn't it?
No, but
in a way, that's
Pokemon
kind
Go
of
is different.
Okay,
it's different,
yes
but
and no. Have you seen how Pokemon Go works?
No, I've seen how it works.
Yeah.
I've seen like don't get me wrong, the test
you can't
footage,
even battle directly against other people.
But that's my point. The test footage is a bit, there was a lot of trouble people had with the beta. Like, someone released footage of the beta in Australia, and jeez, those guys were furious. Like, we were talking to someone who ran the beta.
Nintendo, the guys behind the beta are furious.
Yeah, they were completely pissed about it, and they were not happy.
Yeah, because here's the thing: Japan didn't break the embargo.
Yeah,
they didn't do it at all. That was their first country to test it. They did that for several months even, and nobody broke the embargo. They go into Australia within 1 week.
Do you think
Australia?
Do you think realistically that we're not going to get like slapped on the wrist for that? Because I remember you talking about how Europe got slapped on the wrist for breaking for breaking an embargo with X and Y. Do you think Australia's going to get slapped on the wrist for that?
Not if nobody else breaks the. If they do, we might miss out on Go almost entirely. Well, not entirely, but like
if they embargo
seriously
the entire
delayed
country.
Someone would. I think heads would roll, and it would start with someone hunting down the bloke that broke the footage.
Yeah, but we were discussing. We actually met someone who has the Go. We won't name the person.
Yeah, obviously.
But they were saying that every single person who is in the beta for Australia has been emailed that if anyone releases any more information or like of that level, everyone's going to get kicked off the beta.
But is that just specifically the beta, or do you think the whole consumer market will get punished as a result?
I believe that if that happens,
consumer market,
at least it would be at least delayed.
Do you think that's kind of fair? Like,
it's
a mixture, isn't it? Because though you can understand they broke the rules, they have to be punished. How far you go with it, I think it's at what point do you go, I'm serious?
It's less about they broke the rules, they need to be punished, but you shouldn't be punishing the entire country for the mistakes of you. Like, kick them off the beta and delay access for them specifically.
But you can't. Can you really do it with the current release infrastructure? Like,
yeah, you can. You can
just a reminder that this is mostly people who are from Japan that are working on that have organized all this stuff. You've got to also take into cultures and stuff.
That's my point.
So for them, it might seem perfectly fair. To us, it might seem terrible.
It definitely will. Like, if one more person breaks this, then it'll seem perfectly fair for them to cut off the entire beta. Because it's just a different.
I understand if they want to cut off the. I understand if they want to cut off the entire beta, and they might not even like release the beta in other countries unless they really need to test some servers and stuff. And that's just because, well, if one country other than our safe haven that is Japan has leaked information, then what's to say that every other country isn't? But
what opens the floodgates there?
Yeah, what opens the floodgates? They want to keep information behind, so...
Let's be honest here, Australia does not have the best track record when it comes to this.
Well, okay, think about it this way. When does Australia get given nice things?
Yeah,
When
this
does
is like...
Australia have a good track record? We're built from convicts.
Hey, have a bit more
We
faith.
started off...
He has a good
as-
point.
He has a point there.
We're not Canadian. We're not Canada.
We started off as convicts, and we haven't exactly got a good track record since.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. On another note, like, do either of you ever play or touch Disney Infinity?
So no.
I wanted to because I actually heard that's a decent game.
Oh. I
Unlike Skylanders.
Well, you'd be sad enough to hear that Disney Infinity is being shut down.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'll bring up the article here. Just
before we move on, what team are you on in terms of starters?
the fire cat.
Okay,
I hate
I'm
the bird.
Wallet. I'm Rollet.
I'm Rollet too.
Such a cute bird.
I hate it.
I think there were
It
enough.
looks like a round poop with a bow tie.
I mean, I was gonna go Popolio because I wanted to but it was really tough
clown
between
seal.
the two. Yeah, it's a clown seal. That's awesome.
But seriously, it looks like
And that's like a
poop with
gentleman
bow tie.
owl. I love gentleman.
God, I have to apologize to anyone watching this because I am really cranky today because my right wisdom tooth is coming out. So I am significantly more cranky than I would be. So, and take everything I say with a grain of salt because this is the cranky version.
Yeah,
of me.
just being very salty.
And Chris, what team are you on in starters?
Look, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to buy this game unless they can show me that there's going to be something outside the usual.
Okay,
formula.
even if you're
It's
not getting
gonna
it,
start
like, what
with
starter?
probably the owl. That said,
Team Rollet.
the Poplio, the water starter, that's been getting so much shit. Like, well, okay,
Yeah.
actually, it's not that it's been getting shit. It's that everyone's going elsewhere. It's the kid in the courtyard that no one picked.
I want Popolio so
honest,
badly, and I
like-
kind of feel like I'm bad for it because this is like one of the few starters I've not picked the water type for.
But the thing for me is
Well-
that water thing, like that always for me, it feels like that would be literally everyone else's second choice. Like if it would be
You say
one-
that, but all the people who want the cat absolutely hate the water type.
But that's my point. Well, that's my perspective of. But from my perspective, if it was like the cat out of all three is the one I'd probably choose the least. And I'm generally the guy that
Same.
starts. But same. But that's my okay. Look, it would go down the USA because for me it feels like just a cat. It feels like a cat they've painted red and they've said it's fire as a
red and
result.
black, and they didn't call it a dark type.
Well, you never know. But
I evolved to a dark type. Charizard changed.
Yeah, we'll probably evolve into a dark type.
but
Anyway,
But my point is more that just
it's just a cat.
it's just a cat at this point at least. That said,
And I'm not a
like,
cat person.
like going back to it, Disney Infinity just closed up.
Yeah.
And I think is this really getting to the point where has the hype for peripheral based games, so like stuff like Amiibo, Skylanders, and Infinity, is the pool starting to dry up?
I don't think it's starting to dry up. I definitely think that Disney Infinity kind of it took some. It didn't do enough marketing.
But it
was completely reliant on what it was giving away and advertising through being, well, okay, this is Frozen. Oh, this is Tangled. Oh, this is Star Wars. Star Wars sounds pretty cool, but it was completely reliant on advertising through those rather than advertising what the game actually was.
But like I understand that perspective, but they were getting better and better at it though.
They were.
Like that was the thing. It was a stone that you put at the top of a hill, and it was gaining momentum. And it feels like it got because I think like there were
it
apps.
accidentally hit another stone jutting out of the bottom, like the middle of the hill, halfway down, flew into the air and smashed.
Seriously, like where do you think? What do you think that stone was?
Well, for one,
No
competing
idea.
against Skylanders.
Well, that was something they were doing from the onset.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
I have to ask.
Skylanders, yes, it does need competition. It very much does. Those games are stale. Like the racing game is cool, but and the multiplayer from the first game was pretty fun, but other than that, those games are kind of
I do have to ask.
completely reliant
why
on
was
its
it shut
gimmick.
down?
I don't remember the specifics, but I think it was just like saying it wasn't really that profitable.
Yeah.
It was actually, I think, okay, the issue was that Disney Infinity didn't share the same gameplay structure across the toys.
Yeah.
So there was rather
yeah.
than an overarching story, all those characters had like they were toys before they were games.
World.
Yeah, more like they provided their own world that other things could go into.
No,
but
other things couldn't go into it.
Or in a more cynical sense, you were buying the figures so you could unlock a input DLC for the actual game, and the game couldn't be played otherwise.
And you could only play that DLC with the characters you bought.
Yes and no. So you could use other characters in other people's worlds if you had, depending on what kind of content it was.
Yeah,
like you couldn't
if it was like an
Wreck-It
adventure map
Ralph on a Cars track.
but
it depends on the map.
Yeah, it was talked about how it had Skylanders to compete to, but is Skylanders really being that competitive right now? Because I haven't heard jack about Skylanders in years. Like the main thing. Okay, well, what's going on with Skylanders right now? Like, on
Okay, for one, they're making a card game.
Are you serious?
Oh.
Yeah, you haven't seen that? They've been advertising it on. Oh wait, we don't watch TV.
oh, look at our superiority.
But yeah, it's like at EB Games, so like $15 for a starter deck.
Well, I'm never touching that.
It's basically like it's one of those AR, like augmented reality trading card games, like they tried doing on the PlayStation a while back.
So is it a bit like the one? Is it a bit like the ones?
No, chaotic is like you input code so you can unlock it online. AR means you're taking a camera and the battles.
So like
the cards.
what the 3DS had with those cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what the PlayStation tried to do and failed spectacularly.
Well, okay, but
which was really disappointing. I like that game.
But my point, if it's trying to compete against Skylanders, what was Skylanders putting to the market that Disney Infinity wasn't?
Here's the thing. Okay, Skylanders was there, and it was in there first. People got really hyped into Skylanders and the whole kids collection thing because they started the collection. Disney Infinity came in later. Collection was not a strong point of that game. It was simply just unlocking worlds. Skylanders already had the collectability down. And then as the games went on, Skylanders just kind of became a cult thing. Disney Infinity just did nothing. I think
the issue would have been when I think about it, Disney Infinity tried to be a mixture of Skylanders and Amiibos. It tried to be
before Amiibos.
Well, before Amiibos, but
yeah.
more along the lines of Disney Infinity tried to be the gameplay style world of Skylanders with the recognizable ability of Amiibos. Even if Amiibos weren't there first, it still acted as the middle ground.
Infinity and went, this is going to die, but we're going to take this little part and run away with it, and then we're going to become amazing.
Well, to be fair, they were planning that since Skylanders. They were planning it before then.
It just took up more steam at that time.
The Wii U was in development. They probably already had the NFC technology down for that.
Sure.
So they were clearly working on it before Skylanders came out, and then Skylanders came out. It was like, oh crap! Now we have to actually get this thing right. And they tested it with Pokemon Rumble.
Okay.
And so it feels like Amiibo they're not competing with Skylanders or Disney Infinity. Because they're just not that. They work with a whole bunch of games. They do completely different things.
But that was my point. Is Disney Infinity seemed to be acting as the middle ground. The gameplay of Skylanders with the recognizability of characters of Amiibos. And when you think about it, that was a losing battle on both fronts. That's Germany in World War II. You're trying to fight. You're trying to fight something with Skylanders where the gameplay is probably I've seen a little bit of gameplay, not a lot. With the gameplay of Skylanders is more set, then you're trying to compete also on the other front against the competitiveness of the Amiibos, where the games where Nintendo's probably can be a bit more recognizable as a whole based on nostalgia, as well as we are a gaming peripheral where Amiibo was we can run this across all games. You weren't going to win that war either way.
Basically, what you're saying is it tried to be everything and failed.
It tried more
It tried to be it was everything, but it didn't specifically excel at anything. It was average across the board.
That would make sense.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I don't think Disney realizes how their brands quite work.
How so?
Dignity Infinity.
Okay, so what was like the biggest two series that really hit Disney Infinity really hard?
Marvel and Star Wars.
I forgot about Marvel, but yes. Throw in Frozen.
Frozen. Like I'd say Frozen. Like Frozen was where it's another character set, but like Marvel and Star Wars would have been the big two.
Yeah, they would have been the big two franchises, and Frozen was for all the little girls that wanted a Frozen figurine that would work with their game. So it was kind of those three that kind of were doing anything. Because as much as I like Wreck-It Ralph, I wouldn't want a Wreck-It Ralph figurine.
That's fair enough.
As much as I was okay with the original Cars movie, I wouldn't buy a car.
Well, we're adults. We might kind of need a car at some point.
Yeah, you say that.
Hey, at some point you're going to own a car. At some point.
Subjective.
Subjective, yeah.
But I understand what you mean. It's they weren't targeting for their target market, correct?
Yeah, and also if you look at Nintendo's like recognizable characters, that thing's down to a cult level.
But it's also like it's still big enough. But the demographic that Nintendo was targeting didn't inherently have to be obvious compared to Disney. Disney in its own right is a kids entertainment network, even if it's a huge conglomerate. If you think Disney, you're not inherently thinking, oh, it's linked to Marvel, oh, it's linked to Star Wars, oh, it's linked to so many other brands.
Yeah.
Polaris Podcast and all of that is owned by Disney.
But that's exactly it. You don't think of Disney as its subsidiaries. You think of Disney as
kids' entertainment.
As the kids' entertainment company, and then
and sometimes you'll think of Pixar as Disney.
And then the subsidiaries are known in their own right.
Is Pixar Disney?
Yes, it is.
But then you think of the subsidiaries
Bought
in their own
out just
rights.
before Toy Story.
Because, look, let me put it this way. I think of it of Iron Man, like those type of movies, the Marvel franchise, as the Marvel franchise. I don't think of it as Disney's Marvel franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Disney probably isn't the one pulling
Though
the
some
strings.
people do think that the new Star Wars movies are Disney's Star Wars, but that's another thing.
No,
entirely.
I disagree
We'll
with
leave
that.
that.
I know a few people who think of it
We'll
that
leave
way,
that for
including my
another
own
day.
brother, because he's doesn't like Disney like at all.
But yeah,
Well, that's a bit of an
we'll
interesting
just
work.
let that go for now. But like, Marvel is owned by Disney, but Disney isn't the one behind Marvel. Like, they're the ones that approve Marvel and say, yes, you can do these, yes, you can use this budget, but they're not the ones directing Marvel. They're not the ones that, like, with the creative property and stuff like that.
No, they hire the directors, but they don't command the directors.
No, but like that's what I mean. Is Disney does not have a hand in those back pockets, and as a result, when they were trying to market products, they were doing it as Disney, the kids company, versus Disney, the guy that owns all this really cool stuff. So even when they did go into that really cool stuff, it was still under the name of a kids brand.
Yeah.
And which is, like I said, I love Disney. I have a lot of nostalgia for them. I have a lot of respect for some of their current works. But it was still a matter of when you're trying to promote a game.
What's that? Oh, there's a Disney mind control chip on the back of your head.
Damn it! You had to see that. No, but my point being, I have a lot of respect for their current works. It's just that when I walk, if I'm gonna go see a Disney movie, I'm gonna see it with friends because a guy alone in a Disney movie is creepy because there's a kid's tie to it. Going to the movies alone can be a little bit weird sometimes, but I've only just recently learned that. So, yeah, that's interesting, but, so, on a Marvel front, have you guys heard about the reviews for X-Men Apocalypse?
No, I've
didn't
been
avoid
hearing
it,
about that
enough.
movie for 2 years now, and I don't follow X-Men, so I'm not entirely sure.
I watched First Class, and I enjoyed First Class. I don't know how they're gonna do this one.
I think...
So, but I have been avoiding the reviews somewhat.
I have seen the trailers for it. It's a movie I'm excited for, but it seems like I might not have to be. And whether or not that's just an argument of, the critics are wrong, because, critics can be wrong. It's still
Critics can be horribly wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman vs. Superman, it was still enjoyable. It wasn't the shitfest that some reviewers put it at.
It was still a bit of a shitfest.
Oh, it's a shitfest, but it wasn't,
As bad
terrible
as it was,
waste of complete waste of time.
We're not
That
meant to
was-
talk about this. Naughty people. Naughty. We've talked about this too long.
Wasn't it Civil War, or have we done a lot of Batman vs Superman?
We've done both.
We've done
Oh,
both.
God.
A lot of both.
No, we should talk about Angry Birds.
Yeah.
Oh God, no!
Actually, what we can talk about in that sense
Actually,
is
yeah.
video game movies as a whole, because
Yeah.
like the past year, like video game movies have been notorious for never succeeding for the life of them. Like, what was the best successful? What is? Okay, I'm gonna put this out. I checked this earlier in discussion. What is the most successful video game adaptation to movie?
I'd say one of the Final Fantasy ones.
Lara Croft.
You're actually correct. Lara Croft. But okay, so what's number 2 in that case?
Final Fantasy.
No.
One of the Japanese live action films.
No, it wasn't. It
God.
was Prince of Persia.
Oh!
But my point being, would you say either of those were good movies?
Lara Croft ones, yes, most definitely.
For what they were, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's exactly it. For what
I
they
never
were.
saw Prince of Persia.
Okay, for what the,
Persia
but
wasn't
what do you mean?
bad, but they cast a permanently white guy as the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
We've had this argument
yeah,
before.
we've had this discussion.
No,
We've had
but
this discussion
not
before.
not just that discussion. It just killed the movie.
Oh, I'm not I think yeah.
It just wasn't fitting.
It just wasn't fitting at all. Like, you play the game and you're like, you look at the character in the game and you look at the character in the movie, and it's not the guy. It's not the same guy at all. Like, when you look at Tomb Raider and you look at the Tomb Raider movies, that looks like Lara Croft.
It does.
But when you, it just didn't fit whatsoever. He was like he was white as snow, and then there's the guy from the games who's like looks slightly shade between mud and sand.
Not a fun time, but like my point being, like, it feels like. But what I was trying to get to was, I feel like video game movies this year might be a lot more successful. No, just okay, you cringe, but like okay, Angry Birds movie is not what I'm talking about. I haven't seen that. It looks decent, but I'm more talking about.
It doesn't look that bad.
Warcraft. And I'm talking about
Warcraft.
Warcraft, and I'm talking about the Assassin's Creed movie, which the trailer for it just dropped yesterday.
The music.
Okay, the music was terrible.
My ears.
Like,
Okay, that's terrible music for
Chris,
the World of Warcraft
No,
trailers
but
as
what I
well.
mean by that, okay, have you seen the trailer?
No, I haven't.
Okay, if I was to tell you, it's Assassin's Creed movie set in the Spanish Inquisition, what music would you think it would be? No.
Sorry, you say Spanish Inquisition and all I can think of is
Mike and Monty Python.
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
I thought you meant...
Hang on, let's do this again.
Oh god.
Our chief elements are surprise and fear and
And surprise, yes, and more surprise. Oh god damn it, with the Spanish Inquisition.
Okay, but my point more being, Blake, what music would you think would fit? Like, if you were going to go like dun 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 or something like that. What type?
some
Some
orchestra
tribal, some heavy drum. No, Kanye West. Fucking, they put Kanye West in the and it's like,
I'm sorry, but have you seen the Warcraft trailer that also has terrible music?
no, but I'm thinking, but there wasn't. But the music difference was very jarring. It was very jarring for what it was meant to be.
It was the Spanish
Again,
Inquisition
have you seen the Warcraft
with Kanye
trailer with
West.
terrible
No.
music?
Actually, have you seen, there's an ad for something to do with Samsung. Do you know who Miku Hatsune is?
Miku Hatsune.
Vocaloid.
Hatsune Miku, yes.
Oh, Hatsune Miku. Yeah.
Yeah, Hatsune Miku.
You're gonna say it the other way around. Nobody understands it the right English way.
They had, one of her songs was recently on a Samsung ad.
Okay, but the difference for
The
me.
Samsung ad was about guns, violence, shooting, explosions, and the guy from...
Yeah, it was really weird.
I've forgotten what his name is. The guy from Die Hard.
Please tell me it was Levin
Bruce
Polka.
Willis.
Bruce Willis. And it was Bruce Willis.
Please tell me it was Levin Polka.
I'm so jarring.
It was.
Oh my god!
Actually, no. It was either Lemon Polka or the vegetable juice one.
Oh,
the leak spin one.
because I saw the video for the trailer, but I couldn't actually hear the music.
But okay, my
Switching.
point being,
Yeah.
like,
It was that trailer, and it was
between
Yeah.
Warcraft and Assassin's Creed, and like Angry Birds seems like a derivative of what it usually is. It's
Yeah.
going to be a kids movie. I'm not surprised by that. You had to make a story out of nothing, and for what it's worth, it doesn't look like a shit movie. It just looks like a kids movie.
It looks like an entertaining comedy. Like it doesn't look like it'll have much of a plot, but it's something that'll be good to go watch just because it'll be a good comedy to watch.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, I want to go back in the Warcraft thing because there is a Warcraft trailer that has dubstep. Yes, exactly.
But
There are 3 Warcraft trailers. 2 are epic, and 1 has dubstep.
So we still have.
For some reason, video game movie trailers have terrible fitting music.
Yeah, but my point more being coming to the point going to where like the movies themselves, and it might just be the trailer cut. They look good, and that's something where even when you look at old generic stuff that was going to flop,
the Ratchet and Clank movie as well.
The Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. But even so, I just kind of look at this and go, it might flop. But it's not looking like it's going to flop.
For once, it has the potential to be good.
And there was also there was also a mixture of there was actually pre-screenings for Warcraft, like people saw it early, and there were massively good reviews, and that gives me hope for it. Like I've never played World of Warcraft in my life.
You don't need to play World of Warcraft because this is the story of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft.
But my point more being, even if that's true, it still looks like it can be a really good movie. It still gives me hope that video game movies aren't just some drag.
It gives you hope that
we've done the fantasy genre done well before.
Huh?
It's like YouTube. It's something that could slowly grow into a proper industry.
Yeah, but it's taken a lot. But it's been a long line of failures to do so,
including a terrible start.
Yeah, that's my point. Let's
just put it this way: there are some movies we pretend don't exist.
Mario,
live action Attack on Titan.
I actually had a ticket for that. But I tried to sell it off. To go because I wanted to go to karaoke with some friends.
No one wanted it.
No one wanted it. Oh god. Because of course they didn't. I'm going to talk about something else because have you guys heard about the new graphics card they're dropping for Nvidia, the GTX?
Yes. I think it's actually cheaper than the 980.
It's okay. What it is, it's 900 Australian, and it's more powerful than the Titan X. It's more power efficient than the Titan X, but it's cheaper than the Titan X by a lot. And for those of you that don't know, the Titan X was a card released last year. Most powerful thing they've ever released, but it was really expensive. It was about $1,600 Australian per card. Yep. I am honestly for a while I've been saving up money to update my graphics cards as a whole. I was looking at a Crossfire, so combining 2 graphics cards together for AMD because that's what my motherboard handles. It's just Crossfires for whatever bloody reason.
Okay.
And
I need to go to Skylake.
And on top of that, AMD had the cheaper cards, even if
AMD has cheaper cards, but you get less bang for buck.
But more for me, it's when you compare the two. Nvidia has more quality,
but they're always a lot more expensive.
Yes,
yeah,
and AMD has more. Is not as great of a quality, but it's a lot cheaper. And I'm wondering whether the quality. I'm thinking that the quality for price might be better with AMD, but
they just released this.
And then Nvidia releases this. And though I would not buy two of these graphics cards, I still would definitely look into this because for me, as a PC master race, I'm not gonna make my usual joke for that.
Gaming master race.
But my perspective
all I'm thinking of is the girls in my class in high school who used to sit there playing Bubble Trouble and go, "We're gamers."
I'm not going to go into that. I don't want to
do that.
I don't want to touch. I don't want to touch that with a 6 foot. I don't want to touch that with a 6 foot.
Well, it wasn't just girls, but it was mainly girls who played Bubble Trouble who did that. There were guys who did the same thing.
I'm not going to go into the fake gamers discussion. I don't want to go into that. I don't need to be getting into shit for this.
I didn't know they existed. I thought it was an internet thing.
Yes.
No, they exist.
Oh God.
I have seen some guys do worse. There was a guy in our class who played. Do you remember Flash Rider? That one where you drew a line and it just Line Rider.
Oh, Line Rider.
There was a guy who played that, and that was all he played, and he classed himself as a hardcore gamer. So I just sit at the back of the class and just go,
That's it. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a hardcore gamer. I'm not even fucking close. Like the last video game I played to the end is Just Cause 3.
See, I would also not class myself as a hardcore gamer,
But
but
you're
I
a
make
hardcore.
Pokemon theories.
Okay, no, what I describe, like what I say you're not a hardcore gamer. You're a hardcore, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say you're a hardcore nerd, as in you're not hardcore in any particular genre, but you're hardcore overall. That fair?
Yeah.
When you say hardcore nerd, it mean you know what we mean.
Yeah. Look, I respect the term nerd.
Oh, so do I. Don't get me wrong. Let me say, if someone calls me nerd, badge of honor, because all it means is I'm passionate about what I love.
Technically, the term for that is geek, but
Let's not make that.
Begin!
And battle ready, fight. Just no.
Anyway,
GTX, Civil War,
NTR, whatever.
You're first.
Back to graphics cards.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
But for me,
You bounced out from that quickly. You bounce back from that quickly.
Oh, I have a spare reservoir of souls, so when I die, I just use up the next one.
Oh, so you're a cat or a demon cat?
Demon cat.
Demon cat.
Demon cat. We'll go with demon cat.
what sound does a demon cat make?
No, we're all on lines.
That's better.
Oh, that's gonna be a peak in the audio.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, James. But okay, for me, the graphics card war more comes down to: do you have do you need something that you can pay for, or something you want to keep long term? I've got a 760. I use that thing to render the podcast. I have a lot of fun with that.
I have a 980, and I have never had any problems with it.
But
Sorry, I just no rendering.
but my point more being, if I can get quality out of if this is a good quality graphics card with some good price to it, I'd be excited. I've always for me personally, I've been saving up my money to buy AMD, but I still would love to have an Nvidia.
The thing about this is, Titans have always, when someone mentions a Titan graphics card, you always see that as the pinnacle of graphics card technology. It's sitting up there as the Titan graphics card.
And it's just been shat on.
It's just been shat on by this, and this is half the cost of a Titan. So
They must have blown the roof on the technical experience here.
Well, actually, how long do you think this type of stuff has been developed for? Because they release this stuff on almost a yearly cycle at this point, but somehow
They are constantly in development. The tricky part is actually the testing to make sure it doesn't fail.
that is true. But that's my point that's my concern with these type of graphics cards, with just graphic cards purchase as a whole, is if I buy it now, will it be outdated within the year? And it's not a matter of will it be outdated within the year in terms of there's a newer model. It's will it be outdated as in this is going to be something I'm going to have to rebuy in about 3-4 years.
Okay.
Because
general gaming, no. Because, okay, here's the thing. The 960, that will still last for the next year. That's how graphics cards normally work. That will still last for the next year. And that's just the low end baseline at the moment.
Oh yeah, I've got a 760. That makes me feel good.
So yeah, that's the low end. That's the low end baseline for high end games.
Okay.
yeah.
So that's what let me think. I'm trying to remember the game, Grand Theft Auto. That's what that would run off.
Okay.
As a base.
To give you an idea, I run a 980 in my computer, and I play quite a few high-end games because I'm a heavy gamer. But
So 980 is more at the top end, and then there's
that's
the
my-
Titan if you want to
Well,
mount
the
the machine.
To be
What
honest,
I
it's
mean
it
is,
kind of goes.
before you start off,
Oh, sorry.
I can run every game I've played in my computer. I can run on ultra graphics with zero latency or lag issues on a 980, and that's been happening for the past 2 or 3 years. So, it's easily going to last another probably 4 or 5 before it needs to be replaced.
Okay.
So, especially something this high, this is better than a Titan. People aren't developing for something this high.
Yeah.
They'll be developing for 960.
Yeah,
or a
they'll still be
980.
developing 960 for at least the next year.
But it's also a question of
Now,
when
that's not including VR.
That's what I was about to say. Would this type of stuff in terms of a VR realm? How long would that last?
That is a good question that we cannot answer.
But you can kind of answer it because you can only go so far with graphics. Like think about it this way: if the recommended cap was a 390X, or it was your higher end of the high end, so your 980s, your 390. Actually, it was a 270 and a 390X, so 390s. But like when you saw what they were releasing in the trailers, how can you go much higher without trying to be hyper realistic?
Also, with that, virtual reality in itself is a different issue because you also have to buy the headsets and the equipment for that, and the equipment for that is changing every year rapidly.
That's teething room for VR to be fair.
True. Especially with the Vive, I'm gonna go back to that VR event I went to.
Yep.
NVIDIA works very closely with the people who create the VR systems.
So like Oculus, so both Oculus and the Vive, or just specifically like...
Mostly the Vive, but they do work for Oculus as well, because they're trying to get a good dev kit for like developers and that. This card will probably work with the current with the Vive as it is now, and the next like 3 or 4 versions.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair enough to assume.
Possibly 5.
Possibly 5. And that's just as a baseline.
I'll be able to run Civ 6 off it.
Easy.
No, I'm not kidding. Like, Civ 6 just got announced.
Yeah, but like I could run Civ 6 off mine. Mine's only 980.
No, but actually, that's interesting. I've never been a big...
Now in Civ games, I could probably run that off my old computer.
I've never actually played Civ. I played a little bit of Civ. But is this like a big shift? Or because like they've made announcements that, let's see, the cities will be made up of districts, so like you'll have different areas for research. There's more research intensive.
That is a massive shift. Cities used to be one block.
Yeah, I remember that, but I'm just being like, have you guys read up on this and kind of seen a lot of those shit? Like, read up on some of the new stuff that's coming out? Or?
Yes and no. I don't usually play Civ. I'm more interested in the Total War game that's coming out, Total War Warhammer.
Okay.
I'm more hyped up for that rather than Civ, so...
This is the part I'm interested in.
I'm sorry, I hate Monopoly, so games that take just as long, I normally don't enjoy.
What he just pointed to was multiplayer won't take all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
viewers who can't see the screen, which we can so obviously see.
Because the last time we tried to do capture of this, it ended so well.
Yeah, let's not do that ever again. Cool.
You know, if we ever try Let's Play, like honestly, if we ever want to try Let's Play again, we can use, instead of OBS, which is what screwed up.
Or my computer.
Well, we can use the Windows 10 stuff because that
Steam also has its own capture program.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It does, but that's normally set up for like streaming and that. It's not very good for just individually streaming. And if you had an NVIDIA card, we could also use Shadowplay.
There's that too. But so yeah, so that'd be very interesting. I'd be interested to see where that goes. And what else has really been like? There's been a lot of news, but there hasn't been a lot of stuff that you can go and talk about in depth.
Yeah, not really. It's just been a lot of announcements rather than anything in depth.
Actually, Battlefield 1 does look interesting though. Like they're taking it back to World War 1 era.
I have to ask, why is it called Battlefield 1?
World War 1.
Because that is confusing as all heck.
It's a bit like when Xbox were out.
It sounds like an Xbox One exclusive.
I heard there was a new Battlefield game when it was released, announced. So I went to look for the trailer for Battlefield, and I came across something that said Battlefield 1. I'm like, oh, that's old. Kept scrolling through. It took me about 5 minutes to figure out that Battlefield 1 was the new Battlefield. Because I started playing in Battlefield 3, so... yeah.
I play Battlefield 3, my brother has it.
I don't generally play Battlefield or COD or any first-person shooters, but still, that threw me the heck off.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
It's things like that throw you in a loop.
That's always
God damn it, naming conventions. Gaming industry, get your naming conventions right. If you're gonna base it in World War 1... Make it called Battlefield World War 1.
But that doesn't sound as flashy though.
Battlefield.
That's just Battlefield: The Great War.
That
it was called The Great War originally.
That is true. The war.
Why didn't they keep that instead of making it a confusing as fuck name?
Because
nobody's gonna be
World War
casual
was
game.
The Great War, not Battlefield.
Just nobody's gonna walk into the store and see it on the shelf, never hearing of this game before, and just go, oh, Battlefield 1, what? Is that the newest one? I've heard about other Battlefield games. I don't know about this one. Why would I buy the one? Why is it on the newest console?
I half expect that a lot of people who have never played Battlefield are going to walk into the store, see it lined up, Battlefield, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1.
Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield 1.
And then they'll look at everyone and it's like, oh, you're buying Battlefield 4? No, we're buying Battlefield 1. Wait, what?
No, it's a remaster. It's just like, this.
Yeah,
this,
that's literally what they'll
this,
see it as.
well, this year is going to be the year of the remaster. The new Modern Warfare remaster and Battlefield 1.
And Ratchet Clank.
And Ratchet and Clank. Hey, again, so great. You're looking up trailers. I'm looking up. So you're watching Battlefield trailers. I'm the one.
Oh, and Valkyria Chronicles is also getting a remaster.
Oh God, I hope it's good.
so you guys are watching trailers. I'm watching a cut for cut version of the Titanic sinking. Someone did a live a minute to minute simulation of the Titanic sinking.
Ooh,
like using
that sounds interesting.
no, because what they did was they used Unreal Engine. They used Unreal Engine 4, so they simulated from when the iceberg struck, and they actually had like a commentary from minute to minute of the iceberg strikes. The captain does this. They stop to check it. They go up, and there's actually moments like they're going into the hull, that like the thing's sinking itself, and it's very eerie because that thing happened over 100 years ago. And this week in itself for me, the Titanic's actually come up a lot. Like there was a documentary I came across which was about the Titanic. There was this video. I was found out like a couple it's been over a century since.
Did you watch the Rick and Morty episode where they're on a replica of the Titanic?
There was that as well. There was that as well, and then there was also like even in class we were talking about what was it, toughness and fracture toughness, and how the materials of the Titanic were shit at it. So there was a lot of that going on this week, and then the other thing I talked about was you guys like being on YouTube as you have you heard of The Lonely Island?
No.
I've heard that name. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Some of these songs might sound familiar. I'm on a boat. YOLO. I just had sex. What else? Just a couple of those comedy ones. Dick in a Box.
I haven't heard that one.
But like you've heard of those type of things, right?
Mm.
Those song names sound familiar. Have you heard of Andy Samberg, comedian, Saturday Night Live, etc.?
Yeah.
Well, they're doing a movie called Popstar, Legend of a Legend. Do you remember that Justin Bieber documentary that came out a few years back on the life of Justin Bieber when he goes on tour, all that? This is a comedy parody it's essentially a comedy parody of Justin Bieber with hands down the most narcissistic bastard that is definitely meant to reflect him. It's called, the guy's name, the character's name is Connor for Life, and
you can stop with the slow clap now.
the music itself, it's like very typical pop music, but it's so funny because it's like The Lonely Island is very good at what they do, and it's like in the trailer you see holograms of Adam Levine, the head singer of Maroon 5, humping, and the guy's just going in the background, it's that hologram of Adam Levine, so expensive, during a song that's literally called Humble. I'm so humble. I'm honestly, it's gonna be one of those comedy movies that it's not going to be in the greatest of taste. It's not going to be a great taste of a comedy movie. I think I find it hysterical. Because Justin Bieber is... okay, here's the thing for me with Bieber is he was a shit for a long time.
He went in too young.
But he became a huge shit.
And then he just...
But the thing was, when he apologized last year, going, I'm sorry, I was being a dick, etc., I looked at that and went, okay, I'm willing to accept that, as long as you're going to prove that you're not doing shit.
Next week.
Well, no, but the thing was,
he hasn't actually done
he
much
kept
yet.
out of the tabloids for 6 months, at the very least, and then a lot of the controversy he's caused now, yes, he's been a bit of a narcissistic arsehole recently, that's true, but he's like, I'm not going to give him shit nowadays, just because it just, as much as I don't like his style, not as though he's a complete wanker.
Before we move on to another topic entirely, I have to ask, have either of you played Total War before, any of the games?
No.
Nope.
Do you know what it's about, or what it's like?
I have a general idea.
No clue.
So,
Real-time strategy, though, I do know that
it's
much.
real-time strategy, but instead of producing units, you start off with an army. But Total War itself, they've made a lot of historical games, so like Shogun 2, or Attila, or stuff like that. they're all based on previous battles or previous parts of history where battles have took place. But everything is like each one of your units will have morale, and if they get hit from the flank by a cavalry charge, they'll crumple really fast or something like that. But they've always been good games, but they've always been in historical settings, so they've been popular, but they haven't really been that much in the forefront. The new one that's bringing out Warhammer, it's obviously going to attract the Warhammer crowd because it's Warhammer. And they're going to jump along like little favourable pawns straight into the game.
Okay, like
Go on, you sheep.
the Warhammer games are like the Star Trek movies. Every second one is amazing.
But they've got all those amazing mechanics and they've put it into a fantasy game. So they've got giant monsters, they've got flying creatures, dwarves, elves, all this fun stuff. And they've actually put it into a game with good mechanics, realistic battle mechanics. So this is what would happen if a realistic battle were to occur between dwarves and elves, per se.
Okay.
And that's something I find really exciting. It's something that's interesting because we haven't really seen anything like that happen yet.
Okay, so just a concept of a good fantasy real-time strategy,
Yeah.
essentially.
Very much.
Wow, we're very low energy today, aren't we?
Yeah, we're also very low on good fantasy real-time strategy now that I think about it.
So
the
essentially
only one I
like-
can think
so
about
what's-
is Lord of the Rings, and that is embarrassingly bad.
So
And,
essentially
the
what you're
next
saying
closest thing
is...
would be when you throw in the cheats of that into Age of Empires.
So essentially what you're saying
like
is
Age of Gods.
our energy is low because we don't have enough fantasy real-time strategy. Is that essentially what you're saying?
Yeah, something like that. Let's go with that.
Well, I think that's probably the thing that we need to say that we'll probably wrap this up. So we won't do it. We'll start trying to do the book club as of next week. We're just really too shit tired and can't really give a damn. But at this point, thank you guys very much for watching. That kind of wraps up the podcast. Thank you, Blake and Kai, for coming
Why
in.
did it suddenly get dark on my screen?
What happened
because things
was the room filled with the dark mists of the devils. And before we all get slaughtered horribly and have to come back as a clone of ourselves,
You essentially
we're
don't
going
need to see this.
Finish the podcast so no one sees the bloody slaughter of us getting murdered
Actually,
by
I
the
think
demons
the
from
angels
hell.
have just arrived.
Yeah, that was that bang on the door, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, you sexy people, for watching, and we will see you guys next week. See ya.
Bye!
Hit the button. Go away. No. No. Ah!